Greetings! Naturally79 here, and welcome back to another deck profile video for Cardfight Vanguard Deer Days! Alright, let's get started. Pressing the A button now.
Cardfight Vanguard Deer Days.
Loading game and proceeding. Here we are in the main menu. Going to edit deck menu. And now in today's video, the deck profile I'm making one for is a Stoicheia's Mysterious Rain Spiritualist Zorga D-BT04. And I'm going to be using this Mysterious Rain Spiritualist D-BT03 Zorga deck as the base of the deck I'm going to build. Alright, let's get started. Going to edit deck, entering edit deck. And here we are. And like I just mentioned before, the deck I'm building today's deck profile video is a Stoicheia's Mysterious Rain Spiritualist Zorga deck made up of cards only available up until D-BT04. So first I'm going to filter settings and to pack, show only cards from D-BT01, Genesis of the 5 Greats, D-BT02, A Brush of the Legends, D-BT03, Advance of Intertwined Stars, D-BT04, Awakening of Chakrabarti, Festival Collection 2021, and Promo Pack number 1, apply filter. Alright, now first up, the grade 3 lineup. For the grade 3 this deck, we're playing Ride Deck, grade 3, Mysterious Rain Spiritualist, Zorga. Skills for skill, continuous as a Vanguard. When you play a normal order, you can bind a normal order with a different card name from your drop and Alchemagic, combine the cost and add the effect to the back. Second skill, action as a Vanguard once per turn. Cost, Counterblast 1. If the cost been paid, choose a card from your drop zone and call to rear guard. So for Zorga, it's the main grade 3 to run this deck. The first skill, whenever you play a normal order from your hand, you have the option of binding a different normal order from your drop zone and activate its skill, which is called Alchemagic. So if this first skill, Zorga will allow you to play 2 order cards as long as you meet the correct conditions. Any second skill, by playing a Counterblast of 1, you can Superior Call any unit card from your drop zone to your rear guard, thus securing yourself a potential attacker from the front row or booster from the back row, or any rear guard whose skill you wish to make use of later. And so for Mysterious Rain Spiritualist Zorga, we got 4 in the deck, 1 the right deck, leaving it that way. Next up, the grade 3 Roaming Prison Dragon, skill auto from the drop zone. When you play a normal order, you may call this card to rearguard circle. If you call this card, perform one of the following. If it was Alchemagic, perform all of the following. This unit gets plus 10,000 power until end of turn. This unit gets plus 1 critical until end of turn. So for Roaming Prison Dragon, it's a support card for the Zorga deck. Its skill, from the drop zone, whenever you play a normal order, you can Superior Call this card from the drop zone at no cost, and then choose one of 2 skills to activate. Either give your newly called Roaming Prison Dragon 10,000 power or plus 1 critical, and if you Alchemagic while Superior Calling this card, you can activate both effects of getting power and critical. So for Roaming Prison Dragon, as long as you meet the conditions, you can secure yourself a potential 15,000 point attacker from the front row with plus 1 critical. So for Roaming Prison Dragon, we're playing 2 in the deck. Okay, next up, the grade 3 normal order, Cursed Soul, Scribbling and Agony. Not going to play this card anymore, taking it out. The grade 3 normal order, Grief, Despair and Rejection. Skill order, play with a Counterblast of 1 if the cost been paid. If your Vanguard is Mysterious Rain Spiritualist Zorga, choose 3 of your units. If they get plus 10,000 power until end of turn. So for Grief, Despair and Rejection, it's a pretty good card to play in your Zorga decks. Just by playing a Counterblast of 1 while Zorga is your Vanguard, you can give 3 of your units, Vanguard and Rearguard included, plus 10,000 power, making it easier to pressure or potentially finish off your opponent with the extra power. So for Grief, Despair, and Rejection, we got 3 in the deck, leaving it that way. Next up, the grade 3 normal order, Regurgitation from the Underworld. Skill order, play with Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast 1, choose any player's Rearguard and retire it. Choose up to 1 card of the same grade as that card from the drop zone, call to rear guard. If this is part of Alchemagic, you may choose up to 2 instead of 1 to call. So for Regurgitation of the Underworld, it's a pretty good order card to play in your Stoicheia Nation decks. By paying the cost of Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast 1, you can retire either player's rear guard, and then you can choose up to 1 card the same grade as the retired card from your drop zone, call to rear guard. And if you would Alchemagic this card, you can call 2 instead. So for this order card, it's going to not only clear a potential rear guard from your opponent's field, but to also fill out your own rear guard with 1 or 2 new cards to potentially attack or boost with. So for Regurgitation from the Underworld, we got 2 in the deck, leaving that way. And now for the Grade 2 lineup. For the Grade 2s to this deck, we're playing Right deck, Grade 2, Black Tears Husk Dragon, skill for skill auto. When this unit is placed in the Vanguard circle, choose up to 1 normal order from your drop zone, put it to your hand. And second skill, continuous as a rear guard. If you played an order this turn, this unit gets plus 5,000 power. So for Black Tears, it's the main Grade 2 to ride this deck. The first skill, just by riding Black Tears onto your Vanguard circle, you can take any normal order from your drop zone and put it to your hand. So for this first skill, it's a good way to secure yourself another order card to use in your hand, as long as you manage to somehow secure one in your drop zone first. And the second skill, as long as you manage to play an order during that turn, your Black Tears Husk Dragon can serve as a potential 15,000 point attacker from the front row. So for Black Tears Husk Dragon, we got 1 the right deck, leaving that way. Next up, the Grade 2 Inheritance Maiden and Kindrina. Not going to play this card anymore, taking it out. And then the Grade 2 Normal Order, Nectar of Sensationalism, Skill Order. Choose one of your rear guards and so end of turn, it gets plus 5,000 power for every 5 cards in your drop zone. And if your drop zone has 15 or more cards, plus 1 critical. So for Nectar of Sensationalism, it's a pretty powerful order card to play in your Stoicheia decks. For just by choosing a rear guard, for every then that rear guard gets a skill. For every 5 rear cards in your drop zone, that card gets plus 5,000 power, and if your drop zone has 15 or more cards, it gets plus 1 critical. So this order card is a good way to give one of your rear guards a huge boost of power and plus 1 critical, making it easier to potentially pressure your opponent or even finish them off with. So for Nectar Sensationalism, we got 2 in the deck, leaving that way. Next up, the Grade 2 Shadow Cloak, skill for skill auto. When this unit is placed from the rear guard circle from hand, search your deck for up to 1 order card and reveal it. And if your drop does not have a card of the same card name as that card, discard the revealed card and shuffle your deck. And second skill auto as a rear guard. When you play an order, cost Soul Blast 1. If the cost is paid, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. If it was Alchemagic, choose one of your other rear guards and you may return it to hand. So for Shadow Cloak, it's a support card for the Zorga decks. The first skill, just by calling it to the rear guard circle from your hand, you can search your deck for 1 order card, and if you do not have another copy of that order card in your drop zone, you can discard the revealed card. So for this first skill, it's a good way to secure order cards in your drop zone to Alchemagic with, as long as you manage to play correctly with the first skill's conditions. And the second skill, whenever you play an order card, you can Soul Blast 1. If the cost is paid, you can give your Shadow Cloak plus 5,000 power, and if you Alchemagic, you can choose 1 rear guard in your field and return to hand. So this second skill is a good way to not only potentially turn your Shadow Cloak into a 15,000 point attacker from the front row, but to also return rear guards from your field back to your hand to either guard with later or to recall to activate their on-call skills. So for Shadow Cloak, we got 3 in the deck, leaving that way. Next up, we're putting in the Grade 2. The Grade 2 Clipping Dragon of Soul Revolution, skill auto as a rear guard. At the end of your turn, if you Alchemagic an order and played it, or attack a total of 5 or more times in this turn, cost, put this unit into your soul. If the cost is paid, countercharge 1. So for Clipping Dragon, it's a pretty good card to play in your Stoicheia decks, especially for Zorga decks. Its skill, at the end of the turn, if you had either Alchemagic an order card or attack 5 or more times in a single turn, you have the option of moving Soul Clipping Dragon from your rear guard to the soul and then countercharging 1. So for this skill, Clipping Dragon can serve as a good way to not only restock your soul for later Soul Blast, but to also refund your Counter Blast for later skills. So for Clipping Dragon of Soul Revolution, we're putting 2 in the deck. Next up, the Grade 2 Normal Order, Gather Upon Me, Ye Wandering Skulls, skill order, play with discard an order card from your hand. If this cost has been paid, choose one of your Vanguards, it gets drive plus 1 to end of turn. So this order is a pretty good card to play in your Stoicheia decks, especially for Zorga. Just by discarding another order card in your hand when you play this card, you can give your Vanguard plus 1 drive, thus giving you the chance of getting a trigger or at least restocking your hand with extra drive checks. So for Gather Upon Me, Ye Wandering Souls, we're putting 2 in the deck, okay? Next up, the Great 1 lineup. For the Great 1 to this deck, we're playing Right deck, Grade 1, Vanguard Chain, skills for skill, action as a Vanguard once per turn, cost Soul Blast 1, if the cost him hate, draw 2 cards, choose up to 1 order card from your hand, discard it, if you do not discard, choose 2 cards from your hand, discard them. Second skill, continuous as a rear guard, if you play an order this turn, this unit gets plus 2000 power. So for Vanguard Chain, it's the main Grade 1 to ride this deck. The first skill, by paying a Soul Blast of 1, you can draw 2 cards. At the additional cost that if you do not discard an order card after drawing, you discard 2 instead. So this first skill, as long as you can meet the conditions and costs, you have the chance to draw extra cards and to discard 1 card, an order card mainly, to outcome magic later in the game. Any second skill, as long as you played an order on that turn, Vanguard Chain can serve as a potential 10,000 point attacker or a 10,000 point booster from the back row in your rear guard. So for Vanguard Chain, we got 1 the right deck, leaving it that way. Next up, the Grade 1, Plan to Prevent Dragon, Sentinel, Perfect Guard, skills for skill, continuous Sentinel, second skill, auto. When this unit is put in the Guardian Circle, choose from your units. It cannot be hit until end of battle. If your hand has 2 or more cards, choose your card from your hand, discard it. So for Plan to Prevent Dragon, it's a perfect guard for the Stoicheia Nation. Like any other perfect guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When used to guard with and discarding a card from your hand, you can block 1 enemy attack. But it also features an ability unique to all these standard format perfect guards. When used to guard with while you have less than 2 cards in hand, you will not have to pay the usual discard 1 cost, making Plan to Prevent a no-cost perfect guard in desperate last resort situations. So for Plan to Prevent Dragon, we got 4 on the deck, leaving it that way. Next up, the Grade 1, Normal Order, Spiritual Body Condensation, Skill, Order, play with a Soul Blast of 1. If the cost is paid, choose a card with grade equal or less than your Vanguard from your drop zone, called to rear guard, and gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Spiritual Body Condensation, it's a pretty good order card to play in your Stoicheia Nation decks, especially for Zorga. Its skill, just by paying a Soul Blast of 1, you can superior call any card from your drop zone that's the same grade or less than your Vanguard to the rear guard, and that unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for this order card, it's a good way to secure yourself a new rear guard from your drop zone and to give it a little extra power to work with. So for Spiritual Body Condensation, we got 2 in the deck, adding 1, we're playing 3. Next up, the Grade 1, Rogue Headhunter, skills for skill, continuous as a rear guard. If you play an order this turn, this unit gets plus 5,000 power, second skill, auto. When this unit is placed in the rear guard circle, the next time you would outcome magic an order and play this turn, reduce that cost by Counterblast 1, reduce from total cost, does not countercharge even if it becomes negative. So for Rogue Headhunter, it's another support card for the Zorga decks. It's for skill. As long as you manage to play an order for that turn, Rogue Headhunter can serve as a potential 13,000 point attacker or 13,000 point booster from the back row. And second skill, when called to the rear guard circle, it activates a skill. If you would outcome magic a order card that requires a counterblast to play, you can cut down that counterblast by 1 point, making it this second skill a good way to reduce the cost of order cards that require a high number of counterblasts to play, or to make counterblast 1 costing order cards cost 0. So for Rogue Headhunter, we got 4 on the deck, leaving that way. Next up, the Grade 1, Carrion Processing, not going to play this card anymore, taking it out. And now for the Grade 0 lineup. For the Grade 0 to this deck, we're playing right deck, Grade 0, Dream Nibbling, skill, auto. When this unit is written upon, if you went second, draw a card. For Dream Nibbling, it's the starting unit of this deck. The skill, when you ride on top of it, if you're the second to go in the game, you draw a card. So for Dream Nibbling, we got 1 the right deck, leaving that way. And now for the trigger lineup. For the triggers to this deck, we're playing the Grade 0, Abyss Temptation, critical trigger. We got 4 on the deck, leaving it that way. Next up, the Grade 0, Aspiring Maiden, Alana, critical trigger, skill, auto as a rear guard. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted. Cost, put this unit into your soul. If the cost is paid, choose one of your units. It gets plus 2,000 power until end of turn. So for Alana, she's a powerful critical trigger to play in your Stoicheia Nation decks. Her skill, at the end of the battle, she boosted, regardless if that attack hits or not. As long as you don't mind moving Alana from your rear guard into your soul, you can choose 1 unit in your field, Vanguard or rear guard, and give it plus 2,000 power. So for Alana, she's a good way to not only restock your soul for later soul blast, but to also give your remaining attackers in the field a little extra power to work with. So for Aspiring Maiden Alana, we got 4 on the deck, leaving that way. Next up, the Grade 0, Frenzied Heiress, front trigger, skill, continuous as a guardian. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, this unit gets plus 5,000 shield. So for Frenzied Heiress, she's a pretty powerful front trigger to play in your Stoicheia Nation decks. For skill, when used to guard with while your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, she gets plus 5,000 shield, making Frenzied Heiress a potential 20,000 point shield on her own. So for Frenzied Heiress, we got 3 in the deck, leaving that way. Next up, the Grade 0, Elegy Pixie, heal trigger. We got 4 in the deck, leaving that way. And last but not least, the Grade 0, Source Dragon, D&D Blessings, plus favor, over trigger, skill, trigger, additional effect. Draw a card, choose one of your units, it gets plus 1 critical until end of turn. All of your front row units get plus 10,000 power. If your damage zone has the same number of cards as your opponents or more, choose a card from your damage zone and heal it. So for Blessed Favor, it's the over trigger for the Stoicheia Nation. Like any other over trigger in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When revealed during a drive check or damage check, you get 100 million power and draw a card, but it also features a skill unique to it alone. When revealed during a drive check on your turn, you can draw 1 card, give a unit on your field plus 1 critical, give your front row units plus 10,000 power, and if you have the same amount or more damage cards than your opponent, you can heal 1 damage. So for Blessed Favor, she's kind of like all of the standard format triggers in 1 card. A draw trigger, a critical trigger, a front trigger, and heal trigger all in 1. So for Blessed Favor, we got 1 in the deck, leaving that way. And the deck has been built, card effects explained. Let's just save the deck, override deck being built. Yes. And for the cards in this deck, we're playing 4, Grade 3, Mysterious Reign Spiritualist, Zorga. 3, Grade 3, Grief, Despair, and Rejection. 2, Grade 3, Regurgitation from the Underworld. 2, Grade 3, Roaming Prison Dragon. 1, Grade 2, Black Tears Husk Dragon. 2, Grade 2, Nectar of Sensationalism. 3, Grade 2, Shadow Cloak. 2, Grade 2, Clipping Dragon of Soul Revolution. 2, Grade 2, Gather Upon Me, Ye Wandering Souls. 4, Grade 1, Planet Prevent Dragon. 3, Grade 1, Spiritual Body, Condensation. 1, Grade 1, Rancor Chain. 4, Grade 1, Rogue Headhunter. And 1, Grade 0, Dream Nibbling, starting unit. And for the triggers in this deck, we're playing 8 critical triggers, 3 front triggers, 4 heal triggers, and 1 over trigger, Blessed Favor. Alright, deck has been built, card effects explained. Now let's get on to testing out the deck, so leaving the edit deck menu, returning to main menu, going to fight menu, going to CPU fight, and selecting the deck I just built, the D-BT04 Zorga deck. Alright, selecting deck, and now choosing the opponent. Okay, who would be a good opponent to test that out on? Let's see. I guess I'll test it out on Zakuza Ishigami, normal difficulty. And the battle begins. Let's get started. And alright, the battle begins. So, deciding who goes first. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock to rock one more time. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock to paper, I lose, going second. Alright. Drawing our starting hands. I got an over trigger, a order card, Grief, Despair, and Rejection, a Spiritual Body Condensation, a heal trigger, and Nectar Sensationalism. So obviously I have to return the 2 triggers, so should I keep all 3 orders or send some back? Let's see. I guess I'll keep Grief, Despair, and Rejection, and Spiritual Body Condensation, since their skills can be acted almost immediately. I'll just send Nectar Sensationalism back since its skill requires some build up from the drop zone, so sending these 3 cards back, return, redrawing. Nice! I got a Order card and 2 Rogue Headhunters. My opponent rides Cardinal Lord Brutus, okay? He's adding Overcoming the Eternity to his hand. And end of my opponent's turn, it's my turn, I draw. I drew a critical, okay? I'm gonna ride for my right deck, Rancor Chain. For the right deck cost, let's see. Okay, Rancor Chain skill lets me draw extra cards at the cost of discarding an order card, so I'll hold on to my order cards. I should probably hold on to the critical to guard with, so I'll just ditch one of the 2 copies of Rogue Headhunter in my hand. I'll discard 1 Rogue Headhunter to ride for my right deck, Rancor Chain, Dream Nibbling skill. I draw an extra card. I drew a Perfect Guard, nice. Now I activate Rancor Chain skill. I Soul Blast 1 and draw 2 cards. I drew a Front Trigger and Roaming Prison Dragon. Nice, some build up from my later game strategy. So I got ditch 1 order card, okay. Grief, Despair, and Rejection, Spiritual Body Condensation, or Gather Upon Me Ye Wandering Souls. Tough choice. Okay, I should hold on to Ye Wandering Souls to increase my drive when I retrograde 2, so either Grief, Despair, Rejection, or Spiritual Body Condensation. I guess I'll ditch... I guess I'll ditch, Grief, Despair, and Rejection. And now, I'm going to Battle Phase. My Vanguard attacks the Vanguard, 8k. The attack goes through, I drive check. Front Trigger, wasted a trigger. Trigger effects wasted, so 1 damage to my opponent. Boom, 1 damage. Damage check. No trigger, save. And that's the end of my turn, my opponent's turn. My opponent's going to ride the Great 2, Cardinal Noid Cubizia. Skill of the card he discarded. He reveals Hollowing Moonlit Knight. Add it to hand, okay. He's set order, Hollowing Moonlit Knight. The world becomes Dark Knight. He draws a card. Cubizia's skill, he adds power to his Vanguard, okay. And draw that card, okay. He calls Die-Eye and Kagula, okay. Oh, and calling a Great 1 Kagula as well. Alright, and Rayozia, whoa, his field is really filling up. Okay, I should let the Vanguard go through and potentially the remaining rear guard, so I'll just block the first attack. I'll ditch a critical in my hand to block it. Guard, 23k. And attack blocked. And now, Vanguard to Vanguard. No guard, gonna take the hit. And drive check. No trigger, order card, safe. And here comes 1 damage. Damage check. No trigger. A grade 3, okay. And another attack from the rear guard. 18k in total, okay. Should I guard or not guard? Let's see. I can guard and block it. Or should I conserve the 2 fronts in my hand to take advantage of the skill next turn? I guess it can't hurt to take 1 more damage. No guard, take the hit. Ow! Damage check. Critical trigger, wasted a trigger. Trigger effects wasted. Not good. Alright, it's the end of my opponent's turn. Now it's my turn. Stand and draw. Critical, come on. Why am I getting nothing but triggers? Where are all my great 2s? Whatever, I'm gonna right for my right deck, Black Tears Husk Dragon. For the right deck cost, I'm discarding Roaming Prison Dragon since its skill can only be activated from the drop zone, so yep. Right, Black Tears Husk Dragon skill. I add a order card from my drop zone back to my hand. I'm adding Grief, Despair, Rejection to my hand. Next, I activate the order card, Gather upon me, your wandering souls. For the cost, I'm gonna discard, let's see, I got 2 order cards, Spiritual Body Condensation and Grief, Despair, and Rejection. I have Rogue Headhunter in my hand, so I can use it to reduce the cost, so I'll just ditch Grief, Despair, and Rejection from my hand.
オーダー発動
Gain Drive +1, Roaming Prison Dragon skill,
スキル発動
Superior Call from the drop zone, Superior Call,
スペリオルコール
and choosing one of 2 effects, I give it plus 10,000
パワ
power.
ープラス
Alright, that should be enough. So, go into battle phase. My Vanguard attacks the Vanguard, 10k to 10k, Twin Drive.
ドライブ
First check, no trigger, order card. And
ドライブ
second
チェッ
check,
ク
yeah, heal trigger. I heal 1 point of damage. I'm gonna heal. I can heal the Roaming Prison Dragon, heal it, and give power to my rear guard, Roaming Prison Dragon. Heal 1, power added. 1 damage to my opponent. And boom!
これからダメージ
Damage check.
クリティカル
Ah, critical trigger. Come on, at this
クリティカル
timing. Now he added all effects to the Vanguard. Okay. He's definitely gonna block it, so I guess I'll just attack one of the rear guards. Which should I attack? Cardinal Fang Dai or Cardinal Principal Kagula. Okay. Dai is an on-call skill, while Kagula can use its second skill to call a Shadow Army token, so I'll attack Kagula since its skills is still useful to my opponent. Alright. Prison Dragon attacks
エアガー
Kagula.
ドにアタック
25k to 8k, the attack goes through, and boom! 1 rear guard down. And that's the end of my turn, my opponent's turn.
ドロー
My opponent's gonna
オ
ride
ルフィストに
the
ライ
Grade 3, Cardinal Dominus, Orphis Regis,
スキル発動
skill of his Vanguard,
この宇宙の
setting a order card, overcoming the eternity,
アビサルダークナイト
Abyssal Dark Knight
スキ
active,
ル発動
skill of Kagula, he's superior calling a Shadow Army token
スペリオル
to the back row over
スキル
here,
発動
and overcoming eternity gives it 5,000 power. Okay,
セットオーダー
he's playing another one. Okay,
ヴァンガードにアタッ
okay. I should just let the Vanguard and potentially the Shadow Army token attack, so I'll just block the first attack. I'm going to ditch a heal trigger in my hand for the cost. Guard.
ガード
That should be enough. So, alright. Attack blocked, I'm
ク
safe.
ヴァンガード
Now Shadow Army attacks the Vanguard. No guard, take the hit.
ノーガード
And ow!
ダメージ
Damage check. No trigger, order card. Now 1 more attack from the
ヴァンガー
Vanguard.
ドにアタッ
21k,
ク
okay.
シャドウアーミートークンを
Skill of his Vanguard. He's superior calling another Shadow Army, okay.
パワー
And adding power to the Vanguard.
スキル発動
Skill of the order cards, adding power to the Shadow Army.
スキル発動
Again, adding power.
パワー
25k from that column, so the Vanguard's 26k. I gotta save my hand to block the Shadow Army token, so let the attack go through. No guard.
ノーガード
ドライ
Twin
ブチェッ
drive,
ク
first check. No trigger, grade 3, safe.
ドライブチェ
And
ック
second check. No trigger, safe. Phew, that was close. And 1 damage to me. And he out.
ダメー
Alright,
ジチェッ
damage check. No trigger, order card. Ah, not good. Now the Shadow Army attacks the Vanguard, 25k. I need 20k to guard. I guard the front trigger, Frenzied Heiress, guard, skill plus 5,000 shield. And attack blocked. Alright, safe. And now it's my turn. I stand and draw. Perfect guard, okay. I ride to my right deck. Mysterious Rain, Spiritualist, Zorga. For the right deck cost, let's see. I guess I'll ditch Rogue Hunter since I can use my Zorga skill and my order card skill to superior call it later. So, yep, ditching Rogue Hunter to my hand to right in the right deck.
切り札ライド
Mysterious Rain, Spiritualist, Zorga. Now I'm going to activate the wait. First, I'm gonna activate Vanguard skill. Counterblast 1.
この勝負私に分がありそうねスキル発動
Superior call a card from my drop zone. I superior call Rogue Headhunter to the rear guard. And yep, calling it here. That should do it. And skill Broke Headhunter. This turn, order cards get their counterblast cost reduced by 1. Now I play the order card, Spiritual Body Condensation. I Alchemagic. Let's see. I only have 1 order card left in my hand. I should save it, so I shouldn't activate the Wandering Souls yet. I'm gonna Alchemagic, Grief, Despair, and Rejection instead. Grief, Despair, and Rejection. I Soul Blast a... I'll Soul Blast Black Tears Husk Dragon and Counter Blast. The cost is 0, so just confirm. And now I Superior Call from the drop zone. Rogue Headhunter to the rear guard. Call. Power added. And now using these skills to give power, I give the power to my Vanguard, Rogue Headhunter to the left, and Rolling Prison Dragon on the front row. Add power. And now Rolling Prison Dragon skill, Superior Call from the drop zone. Superior Call to the left side. Skill, add power and plus critical. Headhunter skill plus 5,000 power. Nope, just cutting costs only, but that's all. So, should I build up my soul or save the trigger to guard with? I have 2 perfect guards, an order card. I'm at 3 damage. My opponent is 4 cards, so yeah, I'll save the cards in my hand, just going straight to battle phase. Going to the battle phase. First up, my Vanguard attacks the Vanguard, 23k. The attack goes through, Twin Drive, first check. Grade 3, I can Persona right next turn, nice. Second check. Another Zorga, fine I guess, so... Alright, 1 damage to my opponent. Here it comes. The flames rain down, and boom! 1 damage. Damage check. Ah! Critical, come on, at this timing. Alright, he adds all effect to the Vanguard, so now, boosted by Headhunter, the Prison Dragon on my right attacks the Vanguard, 28k. He doesn't guard, the attack goes through, and boom! 1 damage. Damage check. No triggers, safe, okay. Now boosted by Rogue Headhunter, Rolling Prison Dragon attacks the Vanguard, 43k, 2 criticals. Will the attack go through? Yes, the attack goes through, and boom! Damage check first, no trigger, and second check. Critical trigger, yes, he wasted a trigger. Cannot heal, and trigger effects wasted. And that's 6 damage, I win! Not too bad. I got to test out some of the deck's new cards and played them pretty effectively, so I got win, attack 40,000 more power, 1 within 6 turns, did a Superior Call and drew 3 or more times in 1 turn. I got 1700 BP, total 7125 BP, press A to go next, leaving the fight and returning to the fight menu. Leaving the fight menu, returning to main menu. Back to the main menu, going to edit deck menu. And now I've just finished explaining the deck's build and card effects, and I just tested out the deck in front of you. And if that's just all the time we have for today. So first off, I want to say thank you to the viewers watching today's video, and to please stay tuned for more videos I plan to upload again in the near future. I also hope you all show support by liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing to my videos and channel. And with that, I say goodbye and see you all soon.